Hey everybody, so welcome back to Pam's Cutting Board. I've been house cleaning and I haven't combed my hair this morning, so I'm going to spare you guys, and I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do, and I'll bring you guys back a little bit later. But I have some fresh green beans. We have strung those, washed them really good. I've got them in a pan. I've got a lot of water in here because they are going to cook down, and I am going to cook them hard, which that means they're going to be a rolling boil for a while. So I want a lot of water in there so the water doesn't boil away and they don't go dry and burn. And I'm not going to put any salt in right at first. I'll taste them after they get just a little bit tender, because as of right now, you want to string that bean, break it for me, and put it in that pan over there and wash it a little bit before I put it in here. I put me about 4 of the beef bouillon cubes, and I had some bacon grease that I had saved, so I'm going to put that in there. So both of those are salty. So I'm going to wait till they get just a little bit tender, and then I'll taste them and see if they need any more salt. Then I can add it later. But Wayne found a bean in the floor, so he's going to break it up, string it, break it up, wash it, and then we'll add that to the pot. But we'll turn it on high, and once it starts boiling, I'll put a lid on it, and I'll bring you guys back. We're going to have fried cabbage, some cornbread, just a good old country veggie meal.
Cooked taters.
Cooked taters, I forgot those. Wayne says cooked taters.
You're back.
Okay, she's boiling. That's the way I want it to stay. I'll just keep an eye on it. I'll put my lid just cracked a little bit so it doesn't run over. Okay, we'll see you back in a little bit. Okay, we are back. I was going to do the video that I'm getting ready to do yesterday, and I started the beans. Something came up, and I finished the beans, and I fixed something else. But today we're going to go ahead with a fresh garden food and fix you a meal. So let me recap what I did with the beans. After you break your beans, first you string your beans, then you break them, and you put them in a bowl with some clean water, and you just swish them around with your hands and wash them, because they're going to be dirty from the garden. Then once you do that a couple of times, then you drain that water and you put them in a good size kettle, because you're going to have to put a lot of water. You see, I showed you some video. This kettle was full of beans. They do cook down quite a bit. And I filled it up with water, and I turned my burner on high. I put probably a couple tablespoons of bacon grease. If you had salt pork, you could put that in there. And I think it was 4 cubes of bouillon, beef bouillon. If you had beef broth, you could substitute some of the water for the beef broth. And I didn't put any salt until they cooked down. I let them cook on high for about 30 minutes, and most of the water had cooked away. I added some more water, and then I tasted them to see if I needed to add salt. I did add a little bit of salt, and I let them cook for another 20 to 30 minutes, probably on medium. And I put my lid on with just a little bit of a gap so the steam could come up and they wouldn't boil over on me. So after about an hour or so, this is what you've got. Was in the fridge. I just pulled it out, and I'm going to transfer it to a smaller kettle because I need this kettle. And we're going to heat them up, and we're going to fix the rest of our meal. Okay, with any fresh garden meal, you have to have cornbread. It's not an option. Not in our household anyway. I've got my pan, my cast iron skillet, in the oven with just a little bit of bacon grease, probably a tablespoon or so in there. And I've got my oven on, it's preheating to 425. And then once I get all this stirred up, my skillet will be ready for my cornbread. Now, most of the time when I'm making cornbread, I like a very thin cornbread. And the thicker the cornbread, you're going to have less crust. So I make mine kind of thin, but that's totally, that's up to you. And in here, I've got a little bit over a cup, probably a cup and a fourth of cornbread mix, and it is the yellow cornmeal. And I've got a half a cup of flour. Even though it's a cornbread mix, I still like a little flour in mine. And that's all I've got. But the thicker, if you want it thick, then you would need to add more mix to it. I've got some fresh garden eggs. And they had a pretty color. It's kind of a brownish, greenish. Probably like, I would say more like an olive kind of color. What I always do is I crack my egg in a bowl separately, because especially with fresh eggs, you might have one that doesn't look so good. And you don't want to spoil them. If I just cracked it directly in here and it was a bad egg, I'd have to throw every bit of it out. This way, I'm only losing the egg. I'll put that in there. If you had some buttermilk, that would be great. I don't have any buttermilk. You can use buttermilk powder, or you can put a little vinegar in your milk, and it will kind of sour that milk too. I'm using whole milk, but if you had 2%, or if you had evaporated milk, you could use that too. Now, I don't measure the milk. I just kind of move that. I just kind of add it in there until I get the right consistency. I can already tell I need just a little bit more milk. Not a lot. What was that? Probably, I don't know, half a cup maybe. Let's just stir it up. I need to ask Wayne if he wants some meat with this. If he does, we may put some of those sausages in the air fryer, get those good and crispy. Got my beans warming up I got them on medium low. That's it. Cornbread's just as easy as that. As It's the way you want it, kind of like pancake batter. Just make sure all the lumps, most of the lumps, is stirred up. Let me see if my skillet is ready. It's melted. It could be a little bit hotter, but we're going to roll with it. We are rolling with this skillet. I know you guys can't see. Let me try to move where you can see me pouring it in there. And you guys that watch me, you know this is something I always do when I cook, is I make me a pan of water and I wash as I go. So that way I don't have a lot of mess. I don't have a lot of mess at the end of the meal. You see how it's hot? It's already starting to cook right there. Okay. We'll put it in the oven. That's going to take about 20 to 30 minutes. It all depends on your oven at 425. Okay. Now let's get started on the cabbage. Okay, got my fresh cabbage. I've washed it. Just run water over it. Make sure, you know, it's clean. I'm going to take the outer leaves off. The way I cut my cabbage is I go right through the middle. Then turn it over. I cut down the middle on this side. Then you see that core in there? I just kind of go at an angle. I'm trying to work backwards here, so let me see. Just kind of go sideways. That cuts the core out. Because that's very fibrous. Wouldn't be good. Then I'll go right at an angle and get that core up. Okay, I'm going to chop it up. Okay, I'm going to make all of that cabbage, because cabbage is something else that will cook down too. Of course, we won't eat all of it tonight, but we can have it tomorrow for lunch, or tomorrow evening for supper or something. And you can see that I just chopped it up in kind of bite-sized pieces, but that's up to you how big or small you want to chop your cabbage up. We're going to season it right here. And when my mom cut cabbage, she would always give us the stalk with a little bit of salt. And we eat it. It is fibrous. She never did cook it. I don't think it would get tender in here. So I cut my stalks out too. But they are good for a little snack. I've been munching on that one. Okay. I washed my board, washed my knife, And then I realized I hadn't chopped my peppers and onions. So I had to get it right back out and chop them. And I'm just using some frozen pepper and onion. You use that in stir fries sometimes. I don't have any fresh bell peppers, so I use that. And then the phone rung, and I normally put me some butter and oil in my pan, and then put my cabbage in there and fry it. Well, I forgot that too after answering the phone. So I just went ahead, and we're going to do cooked cabbage instead of fried cabbage. It's about the same. The fried cabbage tastes a little bit better, but it'll be all right. So let me turn you guys down, and we'll redo our plan a little bit. Hey, this is real life here. We try to be as transparent as we can. I mean, everybody has private issues in their life, and that's why they're called private and personal. So we don't share 100% everything, but we do try to be as transparent as we can. And so, hey, I mess up. Every cook messes up. If a cook tells you they never make a mistake, be a little bit leery of them, because I make mistakes almost daily, even if it's something I fixed over and over and over and over again. I mean, that's just life. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. A couple of videos ago, might have been the last video, I don't know. I had took a recipe that I've been making for years, and I thought, ooh, I've got a smart idea. And it was a sweet and sour chicken. I thought, oh, I had veggies, and that way it'd be more of a complete meal. And me and Wayne both tasted it and was like, we need to stay with the original. Just add a little bit of pineapple. We did like that part, but the veggies, no, we didn't like that. So, and we didn't like the type of chicken we used. I mean, sometimes you're going to do that. You're going to make mistakes. Sometimes the mistakes are mistakes. Sometimes you make a new recipe out of it. So don't be afraid. If you're a new cook, don't be afraid. I burnt stuff and cooked stuff that was inedible, but Wayne ate it because we were newly in love, you know, and that's what he did. But he would tell me in a nice way. He'd be like, let's not make that again. So but anyway, let me turn you guys down, and we're going to have cooked cabbage. Okay, can you guys see? Let me bring this forward. So here's my frozen peppers and onions. I think I need to check the bread. I smell it. That might be done. Okay. I'm going to turn my burner on back here. I think I'll turn this burner on and use this one. And turn it on high. I'm just going to add me a little water. You don't want a whole lot of water, because cabbage will give off some water too. That's probably plenty. Okay. Now, for my cooked cabbage or fried cabbage, I make them both the same way, except my pan is hot and I have butter and oil in the bottom of it. Then I add my stuff. This way, we've added everything and add a little water, and then we're going to bring it up to boil. That's the only difference. I love this stuff right here. Best thing. A little bit of garlic. We do like garlic. Now I'm going to add me a little salt. And a little pepper. I have to refill my pepper up. We do like a lot of pepper. And I add just a little bit of sugar. Not much, just a little bit. Now, when this starts cooking, I'm going to put a lid on this. And now let's move on to the next thing. Look at that cornbread. Just got it out of the oven. Just sit it back there. Oh, let me sit it up here. Put some butter on it. I do use real butter. I don't use margarine. No, prices keep going higher though. I'm gonna have to resort to some margarine. So far, I've been continuing to buy butter because that's, to me, that just has a lot better flavor and I like it. I just take the stick and run it over there, over the bread. Now when I flip this bread out, I'll just wipe my pan out, put it back in my oven, and use it the next time. I can hear my cabbage starting to boil. I'm not opposed to washing my skillets. I wash my cast iron skillets all the time. I don't my bread. Very rarely do I ever wash my bread skillet. And that's the only thing I make in it. Cornbread and biscuits. That's it. I don't fry anything, cook anything, nothing. That's the way my mom did it. Now, I know a lot of people, they would cringe if they knew that you were washing your cast iron skillets. I've done it all my life. I have washed my cast iron skillets ever since I've been married. My mom, she washed hers. I just wash my cast iron skillets and my water in my sink. I use a little liquid soap in it and I wash them. The only thing is you've got to make sure they're good and dry before you put them away because they will rust. Once they start rusting, you're going to have to re-season them. So make sure they're really good and dry. Dry them out. If your oven is still warm, you can stick them in your oven and that'll finish drying them. But I just wash mine like I do my stainless steel skillets or anything else. I'm going to get a lid for this cabbage and then we're going to start on the potatoes and then we got to put our corn in the bowl. I am going to stir my cabbage. Get those seasonings down in there. Let them cook together. We want a good marriage right here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put me some bacon grease. Put down in there. I'm going to give it a good flavor. Won't hurt it at all. Okay. Now, I took my potatoes. I washed them. I took a scrub brush and just scrubbed them. I've got a special brush and Wayne knows not to use it unless it's for potatoes. I have set down orders for that. But I use that brush to wash my veggies and scrub them real good. So I've scrubbed them, changed water. Now we're going to put them up. I'm not going to peel them. Wayne, come here. I need to ask you something. These are not new potatoes, but I'm still just going to cook them as if they were new potatoes. But new potatoes are the first few messes that comes out of the garden once the potatoes gets done growing. You dig them up and the skin is so tender you don't even peel the potatoes. But these aren't, but we're just gonna pretend like they are. Now I'm fixing a lot and it's because I want leftovers. We're gonna have some leftovers in all this. Of course, you want to cut out any bad places if you have any. Now, if I'd have done all this in the same day, I would have cooked my potatoes in with my beans. When your beans get about halfway done, then you add your potatoes and let it finish cooking. You put your potatoes in right when your beans start cooking, then they're going to be mushy potatoes. You don't want that. I've turned my cabbage down on about medium high, and I'll watch it and make sure the water doesn't completely boil away. I think that's enough potatoes. Got one more in here. Okay. I'll just add it.
What do you want?
I was gonna ask you, do you want a meat with this meal? Because I was thinking if you do, maybe you could fix a few of those wieners, those sausages.
Oh, what?
Those sausages. Those wieners that we did.
Sausage?
Do you want to do that?
I can.
When it gets about done, I'll holler at you, and if you want to make some in the air fryer to go with this meal.
You want one?
Yeah. I mean, if you make them. If not, we won't. It's up to you. It's up to you.
Okay, I'll come in here.
Okay. I'm going to put a little water in there, a little salt, and then we're going to just cook them. Just cook them till they're done. I think Wayne is going to fix us a couple of these. He may eat two. I'll eat one. We eat these a lot. We call them wieners, but usually with cooked cabbage or fried cabbage, I like to do like Polish sausage or kielbasa, and but with all this other stuff, we really don't need it. But I know Wayne likes to have meat when we have dinner. Wayne likes some meat about every meal, so I figured he'd want one. But for me, I don't think we need it. When Mom would cook, a lot of times when we'd have this meal with the fresh garden veggies, we didn't have a meat. We just had cornbread, and that was it. The only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slice an onion. We like raw onion with this. I love onions. Wayne, he likes them pretty good, but I love them. And I got some onion. They were yellow onions, but they taste almost like the Vidalia onions. They're so good and sweet. So I'm going to slice some of those, and we're just going to wait for everything to get done. I did put the corn on. I took the husk, and then you try to get all of that silk. It's like kind of like hair. You want to get all of that off that you can. There's no way you'll get 100% of them off, but you can get them off and take your brush and brush them and run it under water and wash them. And a lot of times that will get most of it. I just put it in a kettle of water, and I always salt my corn, just like I would pasta or anything else. I salt that water and then put my corn in there and let it boil for a few minutes. Didn't take much. Let me turn my potatoes down a little bit because they are boiling away. My cabbage, I tasted it. I needed to add just a little bit more salt, so I did that. And we are on our way to having what I think is a wonderful meal. I love this kind of meal. That's what I grew up on, because we always planted a garden. I don't think Mom ever did not plant a garden until she got older and she couldn't. But she loved planting a garden, and us kids, her dad would make us work in it. When we were young, we didn't want to work in the garden, but you know, that's kids. But we had to work in our garden, and because we ate out of that garden, so we had to work and fix it too. We'd can, and I put away many a green bean with Mom, helping it. So this meal kind of brings back a lot of memories. So let me turn you guys down and let you look at it. And when I bring you guys back, we'll be ready to eat. Here's our corn. As you can see, I still got some silks in there. I've never got 100% of them off. This corn I got it at the store. It was 5 ears for, I think it was $2.50. Good deal. So I got some, and we had some the other night, and it was so good. Now once I get it out of the water, I'll just put a little butter, and if it needs a little more salt, I'll do that. That's all it is. So good. Our little Morgan that passed away a few months ago, she loved corn. She absolutely loved corn. I mean, when we would sit down to eat the corn on the cob, she would take her little paws and pull her hands down because she wanted it. And when she was younger, before little teeth got bad, she would eat it right back and forth just like a little human. And then when her teeth got bad, I took and I'd always make 3 ears, one for her, and I'd cut it off and I'd feed it to her out of my hand. And so that kind of brings back bittersweet memories. We loved our little Morgan. She was with us 16 years before she passed away, and she passed away in March. So, you know, it's still kind of, the grief is still kind of raw for us. And she loved yogurt. I couldn't even sit down and eat a whole cup of yogurt. You know, you buy those little individual containers of yogurt. She would smell that, and she knew the container, and she would pull my arms down until I gave her the yogurt. She ate most of the yogurt. I didn't get to enjoy much yogurt when she was still alive, but she was such a sweet little baby. And you know, fur babies, they get into your heart just like people do. And I mean, you know, you grieve over them, they hurt when they finally leave us, but you know, we're left with all that memories and all the love that they gave us forever, how long they lived. So I'm gonna get off it here, and now we're just gonna wait on the food. Wayne may come in here in a little bit and make us some sausages, or wieners as we call it, and we'll be ready to sit down and have just fresh garden meal. See you back in a little bit, guys.
Hey everybody, just wanted to say hi, and y'all pray for me. I've got a CPAP.
CPAP.
Yeah, that's breaking my face out, and pray for me. I guess I'm being vain, but subscribe, send your prayer request in. Pray for the prayer book. Some of you new subscribers may not know, but every prayer request we get, we write it in a book and we pray over it every night. Love you all. Talk to you later, maybe. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I figure we'll come back when we make you a plate. You can taste test if you want.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. You can see I've added a little bit of butter. Those are cooked down a little bit. I guess some people call them stewed potatoes, maybe. We always just call them cooked. So I'm going to take the corn out of the water, put butter on it, a little more salt if it needs to be, and then I'll make a plate and we're going to eat. I've sliced some onion, and we're going to get ready to eat. Can you hear Wayne in there? He's in the bedroom fighting with the dogs. I think they've done something. They probably got into something, and he's kind of scolding them. But anyway, I'll see you back in just a minute with a plate of food.
Hey, this is me. Is that you? Ready for the, look at this. And I'm sure some of you have been watching her fix it. Mm.
What do you think about it, old man?
Mm. Mm. How many of you have garden fresh green beans? They're delicious. Double delicious.
That plate's a double D, I think.
Yeah, and the way she's got it plated up and everything, there's enough to make you hungry. I love it. Now, gosh, they taste great.
We just needed a big old peach cobbler, didn't we? But I don't know if we could have.
Oh,
we couldn't have ate it. We would have been too full.
Yeah, peach cobbler has to go with it next time.
Now, if you're on a diet, this is not the meal for you.
Mm-hmm.
With all the bacon grease and the butter. Oh man,
You can break over on it.
We have this a couple times a year.
Remember, if you're not subscribed, subscribe, please. And if you are subscribed, get us some subscribers. Tell people about us or about Pam and how good she can cook.
That does look good.
I will be preaching later on. And we love you all. Send in your prayer requests. We write every request down in a prayer book. And we pray over it. Try to every night. Every night. And this is your ministry too. You're part of the prayer book. We call you the cutting board prayer warriors. And some of you remember, some of you know, but for the new subscribers, this is your ministry too. And pray over the prayer book. There's a lot of people in there that really need prayer. And we've seen God move and perform miracles. We love you. And I mean that. And if you can, drop us $1 or $2. But we love you. Love one another. Take care of one another.